Well done, BMW. You've built a very, very special car. This is a proper sports car now. Very fast. I can notice the extra pickup from the hybrid technology, but most importantly is how well it handles. It's so composed. Oh my God. Hey guys, welcome to another video. Today we're going to be looking at BMW's brand new M440i. This is the second generation of 4 Series and it's pretty famous for having its big pair of nostrils around the front. It's a very controversial look. It's been something that's been talked about for probably the past year on the internet. What I have to say, a bit like when I saw the M3 and the M4 for the first time, is reserve most of your judgments until you actually see one in the flesh, because although in pictures they don't look particularly great, they soon grow on you, and once you've spent a bit of time with one and you've seen a few in showrooms, they actually start to look much better and almost blend into the rest of the car, and you almost forget about the fact that you have got a rather large grille on the front. What you've got to remember actually is that these grills hark back to, well, the 30s in fact, with BMWs like the 327 and 328 that had very similar looking grills to this. They literally dominated the front of the car and were very prominent, and that's kind of BMW harping back to those days, although it's also to please the Chinese market who love big grills. What I must point out though is that it's not just BMWs with big grills. Another brand that I love and I do a lot of work with, Audi. How do they always get away with not being talked about in terms of big grills? Their grills are much bigger than the ones on the front of this BMW. So yeah, anyway, enough about grills. The rest of this styling is really, really cool. Actually reminds me of a smaller version of the fantastic BMW 8 Series. It's got a lovely sloping roofline. And when you get around the back, the light clusters are beautiful. You've got 2 big exhausts either side that have got smaller exhausts within them. This is the flagship M440i. So under the bonnet, we've got the magical B58 engine, 3-litre straight 6 turbocharged. Produces 374 horsepower in this particular car, but has more torque than ever before. And that's thanks to a new mild hybrid system, a 48-volt hybrid system, which I've been told is very impressive and something you notice immediately. Matt Watson actually had this very car about 3 days ago and timed its 0 to 62 at 3.8-ish seconds, which is just ludicrous. BMW quote 4.5, so that's a massive step on. And we're gonna get a chance to see what we can do in these conditions with my race box very shortly. I've been told it's a very rear biased xDrive system, so hopefully we can do some big skids on the small handling circuit, which is just over there. In terms of gearboxes, this has got the fantastic ZF 8-speed auto, and in fact that's the only gearbox available for this car and in fact the entire 4 Series range. We'll talk more about what's available range-wise once we get inside the car, but for now I think we need to jump inside and take it to the handling circuit, test out that 0 to 62 figure and just see what it's like on the limit. That'll be the first time that I've driven this car, so hopefully we can have some fun. And then we'll take it out on a typical A or B road and see what the ride and drive is like, because that's really the most important thing to most people that are going to be buying a 4 Series. If you want to know more about the nitty-gritty, the tech that's inside this car, etc., go and watch CarWow's video that they did on it very recently, because obviously Matt Watson goes into all the detail far more than I'm going to today. Today we're just focusing on the driving. Right, let's get in and head off. First thing is first, let's time the 0 to 62 figure in this brand new M440i. I've got my race box ready and we've got a nice bit of private land here. Now, the tarmac is very wet, but we've got xDrive, so everything's switched off. I'm going to put it in sports auto, hold it on the brake. Let's see what our first run is all about. Here we go. Wow. 4 seconds dead pretty much, or 4.06. So that's really impressive. Let's go around and do it a couple more times. Sports automatic, everything's off. Foot on the floor, race box ready, here we go. I'm seeing E-boost down there, so that must be the mild hybrid system. Again, a 4.13. I'm sure there's more in it, so we'll just keep going around until we can get that below 4 seconds. Ready to go, race box ready, off we go. That initial launch is just insane. Another 4.1. Well, I'm not quite matching what Matt Watson managed to do in this car, which was a 3.82, I think, but that was in the complete dry, whereas this is obviously in very damp conditions and the tyres are cold and stuff. So I'm just going to pull over and wait for this M2 CS to do a few laps. What a car! The chassis feels incredible. It's so well balanced. Massive drifts. What a car! It doesn't feel like a non-M car. Wait, is that contradicting myself? It feels like an M car. It's just unbelievable. The balance, the poise. I know the grip conditions are slightly low today, but the way this car feels so flat, it just stays so planted. It's unbelievable. Boom! Oh, that initial launch is just insane. Again, 4.1 seconds. Well, looks like in today's weather, on this damp tarmac, we're not going to go any quicker than about 4.1 seconds. I think the quickest I've seen was a 4.06, which is massively impressive and far quicker than BMW's quoted 4.5 seconds. Let's just do another lap because we can. I can't tell you how slippery it is out there. This car. Oh, amazing. As long as you get the nose in, then you can pick the throttle up. What a piece of kit! What a piece of kit! It just, I can't believe how flat this thing stays. Okay, that was a lot of fun, but most 4 Series or M440 owners are going to use their car on the public road. So let's see what it's like on a typical British B road. I've got everything knocked into comfort, so the adaptive suspension, which is standard on this flagship M440i, is in its softest setting. I think they call it M adaptive suspension. And yeah, let's just go with the flow and see what the car's like. This is a very quick one-take video once again. Just talking about the cabin, it's really nice and spacious up here, very comfortable, just like it was in the previous 4 Series really. The rear cabin space feels a bit tighter to me, and that's because of the sloping roofline. There's a bit of legroom in there, but in terms of headroom for someone over about 5'10", forget it. So it's more of a smaller adults or kids in the back, no problem. It does have a big boot. I think it's 440 litres, so that's pretty impressive, especially as this is really going to be your do everything sports car or daily. At time of launch here in the UK, there's going to be 4 models available. So the base model 420i, which starts at just under £40,000. Then there's a 430i, there'll be one diesel, 420d, which is a 4-pot diesel, and then this flagship M440i, which is about £54,000 before you throw many toys at it. But it does come fairly well equipped. It comes with the 19-inch wheels, it comes with the M Performance brakes, the adaptive suspension as we've already talked about, and a lot of other stuff. I'm not sure if that annoying gesture control is standard, but that would get turned off if this was my car. In terms of ride comfort, it's okay. I wouldn't say it's anything too amazing, and in fact it feels a bit stiffer and a bit harder than an M340i, and that probably makes sense because BMW bang on about how much stiffer this car is and how much strengthening they put into it. It's also lowered about 20 millimeters compared to the 3 Series, and I've certainly experienced that on track earlier on today, and I can tell you that all of that torque really does equate to something, because I'm really blown away by the way this car handles on a track. But we're on a road now, and as I say, in comfort, the ZF gearbox, just fantastic, just stirring through the gears. Start-stop technology has moved on so far, and this very latest one is just completely seamless. It's so nice the way it switches off and the way it re-engages once you pull away from the traffic lights. It wouldn't annoy me at all in this car, and in fact I'd be inclined to keep it on because it's just so seamless and not annoying at all. So fair play to that. I don't know if that's the 48 volt mild hybrid system helping that. While we're talking about the 48 volt mild hybrid system, I have to say that you could feel that extra pickup on track, and it really does seem to be doing something, whereas other manufacturers that have got it, I've never found the hybrid or the mild hybrid system to do much. As we're pulling out of this village, let's knock it into Sport Plus and over into manual and give it a little bit of throttle. It's just so fast, as we found out on track. It really is. I mean, you're straight up to the national speed limit on half throttle in a couple of seconds. It's just mighty, and I'm in no doubt that this is probably quicker in a straight line than my M2 competition. And in fact, I'm a bit curious as to why BMW have quoted the 0 to 60 figure on this as 4.5 seconds when it's way quicker than that, as we've experienced, and as we talked about, Matt Watson's managed to get a 3.8 out of it. I'm wondering if they've been very conservative with that figure to protect the incoming M3 and M4, which, as we know, are initially going to be rear-wheel drive only, and to get a rear-wheel drive car off the line to 60 mile an hour much quicker than 4 seconds is almost impossible. So maybe they didn't want to publish the actual figures on this car, because in reality it's going to be quicker than the incoming M4, up to 60 miles an hour anyway. Obviously above that, the M4 with its extra 130 horsepower is going to annihilate it, but let's face it, the 0 to 60 figure is the one that most people are interested in. It's the one that gets you off the lights and, you know, beats whoever's next to you. So in terms of that, and in terms of all-weather acceleration and ability, this car is really, really impressive. Guys, that is going to be it from my first drive video of the M440i. I'm actually getting one of these in a couple of weeks' time, so I'll be able to do a more in-depth video then. But my first impressions of this car, if you ignore the front, the grille, etc., it's an incredible bit of kit, and I really think that it is the coupe or the sports car that pretty much does everything. And I know 55,000 pounds isn't cheap, but that's a lot of performance for that kind of money, and a lot of luxury as well. I didn't mention these M Performance, no, these M drivers, I don't know what they're called, M Sport seats maybe, but they're very comfortable and actually very similar to the standard ones that come in the new M3 and M4. As always, thanks a lot for watching. Give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you very soon. Cheers.